Oh, hello. You're here early. I'm also here early. This is Power Up with Pride 2025, benefiting True Colors United, and we're in our final day here on this Sunday. I hope you're all doing well. I'm Trace, Peace Egg, you might know me as, and we've got a great lineup to start the day for you. We'll be starting off with SchalaKitty. So we'll be doing a vector art showcase. After that, we'll be moving into a Paper Mario randomizer run by Phantom 5800 using glitch logic. But I kind of want to just call out to y'all because we've got a poll that's going to wrap up very soon here. So, the Vector Art Showcase, SchalaKitty is going to be doing emote art. But of what, you say? Well, that's where you come in. There is a poll going on right now, !donate if you would like, where you can decide what it is. Would it be our cute little Power Up with Pride mascot, Mushy, the little mushroom you've been seeing around here? Or will it be the best little Poyo Pink Puff there ever was, Kirby? Right now, Mushy is in the lead $61 to Kirby's $55. It's a very tight battle. Any donation could change what the subject of that emote is. So if you want to snipe that at the last minute, now would be a great time to get some donations rolling in. But Peace Egg, you say, what are we supporting here? What's True Colors United? I got you. Over a decade ago, our eyes were open to the fact that 40% of the 4.2 million youth experiencing homelessness identify as LGBTQIA+. So in 2008, Cyndi Lauper, Lisa Barberis, Johnny Podell, and Gregory Lewis founded True Colors United, formerly the True Colors Fund, and they went on a different kind of tour, visiting homeless shelters, community centers, and other service providers to learn all they could about the issue. Communities and youth homelessness service providers want to be safe and welcoming for LGBTQIA youth, but often don't have the knowledge or resources to do so, creating barriers for these youth to get the support they truly need. True Colors United fills that space by offering free training and resources on how to meet the needs of LGBTQIA+ youth experiencing homelessness. They also advocate in government and media to help ensure critical funding and services for all youth and create opportunities for youth who have experienced homelessness to be key leaders in the effort to end the problem. Whether you know it or not, you're a part of the solution too. People often think that because they don't work at a service provider, they can't make a difference. The reality is, everyone can make a difference. LGBTQIA youth experiencing homelessness interact with more than just the folks working at shelters. They also go to coffee shops and libraries. They ride public transportation. They use the internet. I mean, to put it simply, they live life. We all share the same world. Now, what will you do to make it a better one? So, in a summation, that is the gist of True Colors United, and obviously, we would love to raise more money for them, already starting off at a wonderful $3,525. !donate in the chat to learn how to donate and support the marathon, the cause, and potentially change the emote. We got a couple minutes before that shifts around. I'm going to go and check and see how Scala and the crew are doing. Hang tight. Power Up with Pride is just about to roll out of the gates for Sunday, the final day, and I'm glad you're here with us. This is Power Up with Pride 2025, and once again, you are here at the start of the very last day. I am PSEG, and I am so happy to be joined for a vector art emote showcase with SchalaKitty. Schala, are you ready to make some wonderful art for all of us?
Yes, hi and hello everyone. I am so excited to make art for y'all today. So I am SchalaKitty, and you might know me from lots of other really fun pieces of art, such as the backgrounds that you have been seeing all weekend. But also, yes, don't worry, it's fine. Shh, he's hidden again.
Did Sephiroth
But
do
also,
this?
Sephiroth did do this. But you know what? This is what I have done. So I've done stuff like, our summer layouts, our winter layouts. I've also done layouts for Final Fantasy IV 3 Enterprise. A lot of layouts for Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. I've also done things even more. There's a lot of Free Enterprise in this portfolio, okay? I've also done stuff like the logo for the Binary Breakers. Shoutouts to our wonderful friends, the Binary Breakers mentioned. But you probably know me from just lots and lots and lots of different emotes for lots of different streamers and artists and just, communities. Yeah. So I've been around for a while. And I've done emote showcases a couple of times for different marathons. I find that it's a really, really fun thing to do to kind of pull back the curtain and sort of talk about how do you make an emote? How does it happen? So that's what we're going to be doing today. So, PSEG, I need to know who won.
Well, big drum roll. I'm going to do a quick refresh here, but I think I'm looking at the total. I think I know we are going to stick with Mushy. From $61 to $55, Mushy has overcome the threat from our best Pink Puff Kirby. So
All
you'll be
right.
doing Mushy today.
What I always do like to do is first I'm gonna close this out. Don't save it because I really liked how that came out. So this is the emote that we are going to be working on. We're going to be doing best our cutest mascot Mushy, and it's going to be Mushy with an ooh kind of face. But I will show you what almost won. So this is what you would have gotten if we had Kirby. It's gonna be Kirby with the big oh my god eyes, and of course rainbows in the background. I'd actually borrowed one of the rainbow hearts that I had made. But the people have spoken. The people want Mushy. So we're going to go ahead, close out Kirby, and we'll start working on this Mushy emote. So thank you all for donating. I deeply appreciate it. So go ahead, Leggy. Yes, I should introduce Leggy, my wonderful commentator who is here with me today.
And who can't hear the music, unfortunately.
Oh no! Why can you not hear the music?
It says you minimized it.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear now?
Yes.
Okay. I have many windows open.
Many, many windows.
There's so many windows open, y'all. You don't even know. There we go.
And a
This should
setup
be...
that's, mostly chewing gum and prayer.
Yeah, that's why you accidentally saw Sephiroth. Because I'm doing display capture. And normally I would tell you I'll never do display capture, but it's fine. The worst thing that will happen is you'll see Sephiroth.
Did Sephiroth do this?
Exactly. We're going to actually, we're going to borrow the reference layer for just a moment. Because I need to start us off with our... Actually, I had to flip that. Let me just... There we go. With our line art color. So we'll turn off the reference for a bit. So basically, let's first start off with the program that we are using. We are going to be drawing in Inkscape. Inkscape, I will go ahead. I'll actually drop the link in chat. It is inkscape.org. If you would also like to check out this software, Inkscape is a completely free and open source vector software. So if you would like to learn vector art, it is a great way to do so. I will tell people that it is a very different feel and workflow from Adobe Illustrator, but I love it. I've been using it for years and years and years now. And it's basically my favorite art program. But that's what we'll be drawing in today. So, Inkscape is, like I said, it's vector art. So the way vector art works is that anytime I draw a line or make a shape, so I'm going to go ahead and sort of start us off with this line, is that this line is now infinitely editable.
Because it's made of math.
Yep, it's all made of math under the hood. Also, for the music, folks should probably know I have a very extensive collection of Square Enix music. So I put on Bra Bra Final Fantasy Gaiden Mina de Bravo, which is actually one of my favorite albums. Though I forgot how absolutely like silly their version of the Moogle theme is. Now the fun thing, of course, about having the reference file right here, is if I'm trying to remember, hey, how thick did I draw that line? I could just kind of go over here and be like, hey, I have to unlock it so I can actually interact with it. Actually this one. How thick is this line? 7. Hey, I guessed right. Go away now. But yeah, so what?
Be gone with ye.
Yeah, I sent Mushy to the Shadow Realm. But we can do all sorts of fun things. So you can see I can change like how the shape ends. But the big thing that we're going to be using, my favorite effect, which is called taper stroke. Basically, what this does is it, in vector art, it replicates the feel of hand-drawn lines. So, but I can choose like how far does the stroke taper. And actually, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to push this just a little further than the sketch. I sketch on paper just because it's more natural to me. I kind of learned, and here's the thing about anyone can do vector art. I learned how to do vector art with a mouse. I am actually using my mouse right now to do these fine adjustments. And that's just how I'm comfortable doing it. But the thing is, you don't need fancy tools to do vector art. You really don't. I happen to have a drawing tablet that I'm using. I use EXP Pen for their drawing tablets because they're fairly affordable. And I use the one I have is the 13-inch monitor. So basically, it's a monitor that is a basically big touchpad. It also comes with all sorts of fun. Let's see, actually. There we go. All sorts of fun features. So, for example, that woo got a little whoop. But it has all sorts of fun features, like it has, I have a dial for my zoom, so I can just, do that. It also has hotkeys. So there's a lot of like really nice things. Oh, and also I always like to tell everyone, one of the fun things of vector art is you can zoom in really, 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 really much. Should I see how muchly we can zoom?
Zoom, enhance.
Enhance. It's not going to enhance nothing though, because we're zooming in so much.
That is a lot of muchly.
Avoid the uwu.
In case you're curious, because you probably can't see it down at the bottom, we are at zoom 25,600%.
Legit.
I will gently pull us back to something more normal. And when I say more normal, I'm like 800%. But a lot of vector art is sort of, I feel like there's probably people who have lots of different opinions about, kind of what's, the best way to do it. I like to try to do as minimal points as I can get, because then the less points you have, the smoother your lines will come out. And I like my lines nice and smooth. So you can see right now I'm editing the individual points. So There are, in Inkscape, we have 4 types of points. So these right here at the end, these are, they're just called corner points, smooth points, symmetrical points, and then auto smooth. So this is a corner node, which means that basically you can make like really sharp angles with it. Smooth nodes will they won't make corners. So you can see the 2 points of manipulation move together. So it's always a nice smooth kind of line. Whereas here, what I'll do is I'll just temporarily add an extra point there. So this is the corner one. And basically these 2 handles move independently of each other. So you can make nice sharp corners.
Mm-hmm. The lore.
The lore. But right now we're going to be doing lots of smooth. There we go. And the thing is, like, if we decide later on that maybe we want to move, like, Mushy's mouth, we can just do that. For right now, I'm just going to be adding on the taper to it. And sometimes I emphasize the 3, but actually, as I'm kind of looking at this, I kind of like the 3 as is right now for the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if people have questions about vector art, I am very happy to answer them. But I also kind of wanted to use this time to talk a little bit about I haven't been like, as involved in communities and such. And that's because I recently got a job, and my job is actually now in fundraising professionally. Which is kind of a fun story about how that happened. I won't go all into the details, but long story, extremely short. Um, I met my current boss through my old job, and after my old job kind of was going to not give me the best deal, let's say, when we were going to do a reorganization. And I was working in local government. They're going to basically reorganize my department. It would have worked out well for me, so I decided to go elsewhere. Also, as much as I love this, I have to turn this down in my ears. I do love this track. But anyway, my boss, she had met me through my previous job. She was a local politician. Well, not really a politician. She works on like local boards and committees. Which, hey, if you really want to affect your local community, consider volunteering for a local board or committee. I'm not like even like joking. A lot of it is older people. If you want to help move stuff in a different direction, sometimes, the best thing you could do is just like get involved. And she was on what I consider to be my favorite committee, our Community Preservation Committee, which is just dedicated to doing nice things around the town. That's it. That's all they do.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So anyway, so she knew I was looking for a job, and she was like, "Hey, I work in fundraising, and I do this at a local children's hospital. And would you be, my current, like assistant associate, like she's retiring. Would you be interested in this? Like, and basically she encouraged me to apply, and so I applied, and at the end of the day, I was the person who got the job. And I wasn't the only person who applied, but I made a good impression on both like my now current boss as well as her bosses, and as well as her outgoing assistant. So now I have a job where I spend my days helping raise money for a children's hospital.
That rules.
It, I actually am like legitimately very happy. But it is interesting, kind of like the interesting places of overlap. Also, by the way, shouts to the circle tool. Which has this really fun ability to not just make circles, but also to make partial circles. You can see sometimes it goes into like a Pac-Man kind of mode, but makes it so our circle is nice and smooth for Mushy's mushroom cap. But yeah, for example, hi PSEG.
Hello.
So one of the big things that we do that kind of has an overlap with what we do here is this whole concept of acknowledgement, which is basically whenever someone donates, we thank them. And we thank them directly. We try to thank them as, relatively soon after their donation. And that's basically when we're here doing an event, that's what the host does.
Speaking of which, can I jump in with a donation that I
Yes.
wanted to thank somebody for? So that battle at the very beginning between Mushy and Kirby wasn't that close to start, but it got a lot closer thanks to a kind donation from Lexi Plays Fast for $25. And they say, Power with Pride? Gotta say it's great. And indeed, this is pretty great. That also went towards the Kirby's Epic Yarn Don't Decorate Kirby's Room incentive. That's a few hours away, but that is $306 out of the $350 it needs. So we're $44 away. So if anybody just wanted to, send in another kind donation and close it out, you could totally do so right now. So keep those donations rolling in to True Colors United.
Yes. See, so there you go. So we had an acknowledgement and then we had an appeal.
Yep.
But that's what we're also going to be doing professionally. So a lot, and it's become the joke that a lot of my job is mail, because I handle the thank you letters that go out to our donors. So basically, when you donate, if you donate via check, basically probably within like the week, sometimes faster if I can get to it, I will send you a thank you letter and be like, thank you very much for donating to us. If you're interested in donating, here's how you can reach us. But yeah, that's sort of like a very big part of the job. And, because what we want to do is we want to, let people know that we truly do appreciate, their donation. And we try to also with our thank you letters, we tell people like, hey, these are some of the cool things that we are doing that your money is now supporting. And I got to sort of see sort of like the big push of all that actually on Friday. That's why I wasn't involved at all actively with Power Up Pride on Friday, because we had our big annual fundraising gala, which is such a unique thing. Because basically it's a giant party we throw for our highest, donors to basically encourage them to donate even more. Is what we do. And it is wild, y'all. Like, I'm not joking. In the span of a single night, we raised $1 million. And
Wow.
it was such a thing to watch, because I knew kind of I knew like on paper what was going to happen, because everyone can kind of explain to me, they're like, well, there's going to be a live auction where we have like these sort of fabulous prizes that we have on offer, and again, usually donated to us, or from folks that we have connections with in our community. And then afterwards, we have we have a pledge drive where we try to get people to to pledge, and they don't, just for the love of the hospital. So it was very fun to watch. I mean, the live auction was great. I have seen live auctions at events like Desert Bus for Hope, but this is my first time being in the room for one, and it's a very interesting vibe. Our MC for the night, our host for the night. Look, I don't believe there's such a thing as a perfect job, because that would mean believing in perfect labor. But this man has probably the best job in the world. Okay. our MC, he's a very snarky British guy, and his whole job is basically to bully drunk rich people into spending their money on sick kids. That's his job.
Where do I sign up to become a snarky British person?
Yeah, kind of there's a line forming here.
well, because his whole job is to encourage people, like especially during the auction was like the big thing, because he would like go around to like the different tables and everything, and and just kind of like see who was like willing to bid, but then he'd go like oh come on. You can absolutely donate another $1,000 to these children. I see that coat. I see I see your Versace handbag. You can donate for this.
God.
I mean, I give the guy credit. The guy managed to sneak in some political humor into a room full of Republicans and make
Oh
it
my
count.
gosh.
So, and this is one of the things though where, again, this is my first time, doing this. So my part of the evening was I had to keep track of things. Which, I've been a tracker for rando communities, so this was fine and, no problem at all for me.
Mhm.
However, they did not tell me how funny he was going to be. And here's the thing: if you know me and you know my streams, and even right now, I cannot resist laughing. I cannot like stone face it when someone's being funny. I can't. So it's probably a good thing that I was at the back of the room. They put me at the back of the room. So trust me, you have no idea how many hours goes into planning the seating for these events. I'm not even joking. My boss and our event planner spent like 5 hours doing the initial seating plan because you have 400 people in one room, and you're trying to arrange it so that way you kind of no one gets feels like they're snubbed because of where you sat them. Also, hello duplicate tool. We can just duplicate our stuff and flip it, and now this will sort of save us a little bit of work and help also ensure that things are relatively consistent. Yes, it's basically like trying to plan like a wedding. Probably with the same amount of like people who would be considered bridezillas. Now, I will say most of the people who I met that night were relatively nice. There's like maybe like one or two people who had like the snotty rich person vibes, but it's fine. Because I basically kind of got to get away with being like, "Hi, I'm like the new assistant, and this is my first time meeting you, but it's a pleasure to meet you." I will say probably the funniest meeting of someone, because here's the thing that also kind of comes with this job, especially when we have people who have money, is we will definitely Google you. We will look you up. And part of my job this week was to look at guests who we have not seen before, and to basically try to figure out who is this person. Because if we have someone who we feel might be a good member of our community, we want to know who they are, know what they do, reach out to them. So one person who was new was a local makeup artist, who does, she does makeup for like big events and everything. And, someone had invited her. So and because she's a makeup artist, she had like an Instagram profile. Like, she was very easy to find. And no, she had like a pretty like unique name. So what I kind of, also what we kind of did for me to have an icebreaker was I helped out with the photo booth. So we had a photo booth set up, and when people would get their photo taken, my job was to try and be like, "Hi, can I just have your name for the photo?" So I asked her name. I was pretty sure it was her, and she gave her name. And I'm like, "Oh, like you're Donna. I saw your Instagram profile. Your makeup's fantastic." please note, this is a lady who had already had like a drink or two. She just kind of glums onto me, just like, "Oh my God, you know my work." Like, yes, I was paid to find out about your work.
Good old-fashioned service industry.
Yes, but I mean, like I said, the thing is that most of these people, these are the people who, want to give, like, they want to give money, they're rich people, but they also want to give their money to, like, sick kids in need. So that, they're relatively okay rich people. But yes, the auction was great. I was very sad that I could not. There's only one I wanted to participate in just because it was such a cool concept, which is we have some popular local chefs. It's actually a pretty big thing because we have a board member, and like his day job is that he runs a popular restaurant. So he knows how to get us like some ins with like the different restaurateurs around and get them basically to donate party packages where it's just like, "Hi, would you like to have a giant party at a popular like restaurant?" And when I say giant, like the one he offers for his restaurant is like 30 people, all the food and with all you can eat and all you can drink. In case you're curious, that was like, I think, like $18,000 that went for.
Wow, nice.
The big one of the night though was the all expenses except airfare. You did have to provide your own airfare, but everything else was covered. But all expenses to Tuscany. At this, you get to stay at this beautiful Tuscan villa, and there's room for like 10 guests. And you'd have like a chef come through, and you'd have all the cleaning would be taken care of for you, and all this sort of stuff. And that went for $40,000. That was a really fun auction though, because it was just like going back and forth like the entire time. But sort of surprisingly, but not really surprisingly, one of our board members, who has a very rich husband, she won. Well, they won, but it was fun. And then afterwards, we have our pledge drive, which basically is just like you don't get any prizes, you just get recognized for being like the most generous people in the room. So it's kind of it was great, but also a little terrifying to see that the top pledge of the night was basically like worth my salary for the year. But whatever. Everything is going to to kids who need it, so it's just like, okay, cool. But but basically we start like high, but then we kind of each level down, is is like, okay, well, who wants to donate, pledge like $1,000? Who wants to pledge to donate $500? They had like different levels you could pledge at. And then at the end of the pledge drive, and this is actually a part that I really enjoyed, our MC was just like, "All right, if you return your auction paddles, turn them into one of the members of the staff, and that will count as making a $100 like pledge." So basically, I then got to go around. This is like I was so excited and just like kind of go up to people and like paddles, bid paddles, bid paddles. Do you want to give me your paddle? Give me your paddle. Do you want to donate to the children?
You got in the door, hand over the paddle. You know you want to.
I mean, I ended up because other people started because they were wrapping up their shifts and I was there till the end of the night. They started like giving me like other staff members gave me like their paddles so I could bring them down to the accounting people. And I was just like, I could go into our little room with all the people who are doing accounting, and I'm like, can I just slam this this? Well, I had like about like 20 of them, so I'm like, this is like the equivalent of like $2,000. Like, can I just slam this on the table for a fact? And they're like, yeah, you can do that. I'm like, yes, paddles. But here's the thing. So like I said, I was at the back of the room. So but the fun thing is the back of the room. one of the things that some of our donors will do is that they will basically buy tickets, but they'll buy tickets and then basically put them into a pool for the people who work at the hospital so that way they can come to the gala.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is, just to let everyone know, this was $300 to get in the door. So for those of us who have normal jobs, that's a little much.
A little
I
bit.
didn't need this to say.
So, but it was very cool that a bunch of, my coworkers got to, also like come and have, they didn't get to work. They were just there for fun. But they got to see, everyone, pledging money and, basically, you know, saying that, we support like all the work that you do, which is really hard work and really difficult work.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the folks that are yes, as Alice is saying, yes, it's $300 to get in the door for the privilege of paying more money.
Yeah, when you put it that way, like the $100 paddle seems like a pittance. Like, okay, this is
Yeah.
just a nothing. Hand it over already.
Yes, exactly. Like, and here's the thing though. So we also have like I said, it's $300 to get in the door, but then we had options if you would like to, you could basically buy an entire table if you wanted to. And if you buy an entire table, we also provide you with all you can drink champagne.
Well,
So
now you're
there was
talking my language.
Yeah, I was like, now it's dangerous right there.
in case you're curious, I believe buying an entire table was $12,000.
Okay,
that
yeah,
checks
no.
out.
Yeah.
Which again, still way too rich for my blood, but like I'm starting to get the appeal.
But all you can drink champagne, Leggy.
Yes, exactly.
Look,
So
I don't need my bubbly to be that good, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, the thing is, here's the thing though. If you were in the door, it was all you can drink.
Oh,
You don't pay.
goodness.
Yeah, as soon as you get in the door, you don't pay for anything the rest of the night, unless you want to pledge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one way to loosen purse strings and
Oh
pocketbooks and
no,
all that.
it is done intentionally.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, like like the folks who won the Tuscany trip, like it's like, yeah, we're gonna fly you with a little alcohol, so you want to pay $40,000. And it was another person at that table who donated like the biggest pledge of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it's okay. We'll spend a little extra to get you all
Yep. Like, I mean, $100 glass of something to get thousands out of somebody is well
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, because I see people commenting about like how much the most like expensive item at the Magfest option was, and like that's how like these are like really rich people. It's and which is like I said, but it's nice though that these are people who they have this, but they want to donate it. So it's kind of this sort of thing where it's just like, yeah, eat the rich, but you know what? I'm fine with throwing them a party if they're going to basically, the whole thing we're basically raising money for is like to do renovations around the hospital. I'm like, yes, please make it so that way we can renovate some stuff and give our kids better spaces.
I mean, Scala, in fairness, nobody said we had to eat the rich in one big bite. We can take our time.
That's right. We can ply them with liquor and good food first.
Yep,
I mean,
little nibbles.
the dinner looked really nice. I have to say, I was a little sad because I didn't get to eat that dinner.
Look, all I'm gonna say is I'm here for a good marinade.
Exactly. But I mean, to be, like, I will honestly want to say that the people that we have who are like our board members, they really are like legitimately like nice people who really do want to do nice things for the kids. I want to state that very clearly.
Yes.
Yeah, for fairness, yeah.
For fairness sake, we actually, there actually are people who really do, want to actually use their money in ways that are helpful and beneficial to people who need it. So I
Yeah.
do kind of want to state that. Anyway, but then I got to end the night at the checkout table, which is basically, oh, hey, we don't have a credit card file on you. Would you like to give me your credit card information? However, most people were very good about having already given us their credit card information, so I didn't get to bug too many rich people for credit card info.
Mhm.
But I did get to hand over gifts, so that was fun.
Ooh.
With one of our signature items, and so by the way, this was a silent auction, so this wasn't even like part of the main show.
Mhm.
Was a $4,000 diamond necklace that all of us were very scared to touch.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Yeah, like I'm
Yes.
scared to touch diamonds in repo, much less a real necklace that's way more ornate than that.
Now it's one of those things where it's worth that much because it's the amount of diamonds, but it is
Mhm.
actually like a relatively small necklace, but it had like something like 85 diamonds.
Oh.
So we were all a little scared to touch it.
Fair.
But we had other fun. Like the thing is that some of our auction items were just like more like approachable. Um,
Mhm.
like we had one where it was get tickets. It was a family like annual package to the local science museum.
Oh, that rules.
And it was like, and it would cover you. You could go as many times as you want. You could bring up to 6 guests each time, and you just were covered for like an entire year. I'm like, that was cool. That was something that was like more approachable for some of our folks, who aren't like the big spenders.
Yeah, and
Cool.
like I like how a lot of this has like a local community focus as well.
Yes, no, we are very well connected with the local community. Um, and I realized I was going to loop back to this. I was going to talk about what my favorite auction item of the night was. One of our very popular local restaurateurs. She basically offered to have you just like join her for brunch at her house. You would get to go to her house and she would cook you like a nice Sunday brunch. I was like, what? Can I like raise like can I borrow someone's paddle?
Yeah,
Of course
really, seriously.
you'd immediately of course be banned for trying to use someone else's paddle. Because all those paddles were assigned to very specific people. However, I was very happy because the person who won was right at the edge of my section. And so when
Nice.
she won, like, I kind of popped off for her. Because she paid $13,000 for that party, for that brunch. But it was cool because she had kind of been in a bit of a bid war, and so when she won it, like, because it was like the only excitement I had in my section at the back of the house. So I
Mhm.
was just like, yeah, you go, you get that party. But yeah, but there was lots of different parties that were on, and lots of trips, lots of trips. So we had trips to Tuscany, trips to Croatia, trips to the Caribbean, because that was like a whole big thing. I'm going to turn this down ever so slightly for everyone, because this one is very bombastic. But
Mhm.
it's good because it's Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Ooh, this is
yeah. So again, you can see down at the bottom of the screen, we are listening to Bra Bra Final Fantasy Gaiden Mina de Bravo, which I consider to be one of the best like Final Fantasy like remix song collections. This is by Tokyo Brass Style, who they do really awesome covers. This is one of my favorites. This is the boss theme from Final Fantasy IV.
mhm.
Anyway, as I'm over here working, you're probably like, Scala, why is there like suddenly like hot pink involved? Which I'm saying, why not hot pink?
Right?
So what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be doing kind of a fun technique. We're going to be doing clipping. basically where we're going to sort of erase part of this line. You're not getting any music? You should definitely be getting music. You got to give me like a hot second because I'm going to have to check my feed. I definitely see that I am outputting music. But I've been very cautious about how loud it is, so I'll turn it up a little bit on my side. So hopefully y'all can hear that.
Rujasu does not hear music.
You don't hear music. To our wonderful Restream and tech crew, can you all double check the music? I will pause it. Well, I don't want to pause it because I want them to be able to hear it.
Yeah. We'll just do a replay when we get music going.
Yeah, okay, hold yeah, we could do a replay. But yeah, tech team could be so ever so okay, good. Now we hear music. Thank you, tech team. Much
Shout out to
appreciated.
tech team.
Thank you.
Yep, we got music.
Woo! Okay, I think we gotta take this one from the top because
Oh,
y'all don't want to miss this one.
Yeah, the opening's amazing.
I mean, I'll probably just start the whole album over.
Fair.
But we'll definitely have this one because we were talking about it. But what we're going to do is basically we're going to take these two shapes here. We've combined them into a single shape. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our line here for Mushy's cheeks, and we're going to go clip and inverse clip. And ta-da! You can see over here, though, I kind of have to neaten that one up. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to neaten that up before we clip. But this is a nice, like, non-destructive way to kind of erase. In case I want to come back and maybe redo that line later.
Mm-hmm.
So, there we go. So we're going to go right ahead and reclip that. Oop, there we go. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of add some tapers here to like the hands and everything. But yeah, anyway, professional fundraising, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I will also, I kind of want to talk about this is like, I want to do like a little sections like basically of, so you would like to donate to a children's hospital. And tell you just a little bit about kind of like good ways to do this. If you would like to support other things that are good to support right now, I'll say in our case, here's like a good reason to support like a children's hospital like the one I am in. Here's the thing. For better or worse, we receive a decent amount of federal funding. Unfortunately, this means that we cannot quite have the normal Pride celebration that we would like to have. Just so folks know, I live in a pretty liberal area, and my hospital in particular is very LGBTQ friendly. Both a lot of members of the staff and also a lot of the kids that we treat are LGBTQ. So the fact that we kind of can't have our annual Pride celebration is something that, trust me, everyone is upset about. I want to make that very, very clear. So you can sort of support your local children's hospital in times where, you know, our funding might be a little shaky. And being able to kind of get it from people in the community is very helpful. So here you go, as we get that nice ramp up. So say you want to donate to a children's hospital. There's basically kind of 3 ways you can do that. Actually, 4. There's 4 ways you can do that. I know, I'm counting like Monty Python over here. The easiest way to do that is, you know, go check out their website. They will usually have a link that, you know, for giving and donations. And one thing I will definitely recommend that you do, You can always give to what we call greatest needs. That basically means that it goes into a fund that we can use for basically anything we need to use it for. Or, and again, this is me sort of speaking for the hospital that I work at. We have a selection where if you want to give to a certain program that we have, you can pick that program. We'll make sure that money is only used for that program. So, for example, we actually have a program specifically for our, Hispanic and Latino families that, and patients that we deal with, just to help them. But it could also be something like we have, we're lucky enough to have like some, like, playgrounds on our facility for when we want kids to have the space and the time to be kids. And we have a fund that just covers like the maintenance of the playgrounds. And, so we can keep them, safe and clean for the kids. Because all that costs money. So that's sort of like yes?
I was gonna follow up with, I do not have $40,000 to drop on a Tuscan vacation.
Yes. But you might be able to, like, here's the thing. We, like, we have, again, I'm not trying to call out anyone specifically because I can't do that.
Mhm.
But we have like some parents and families who they set up just reoccurring donations. There's, and because I'm thinking about this because I bumped into this, and also there's really sentimental music playing right now. But we have one parent, and they every single month they donate $20. But it's $20 with a message, just like, thank you so much. You changed, my daughter's life. And that little amount like adds up. So, we appreciate small gifts, we appreciate big gifts because it means that, you're taking your time and you're helping kids who really legitimately need it. We treat kids who, because I'm thinking about this because we're our big pledges were to get like upgrades and renovations, around the hospital. Like, we treat some kids who, like, we're kind of the only place they can really go to get the treatment that they need. And we want to make sure that, they're in places that, have like the latest technology, that they need the latest equipment, and we've been working really hard on over the last few years on renovating all of our spaces to be also like extra accessible and be, just making it like a better, more inclusive place. So, oh god, the music's gonna be all emotional.
Right?
Talking about the children's gonna be all emotional. Because here's the thing, I don't work directly with the kids, but because I'm stationed at the hospital, I do get to meet them occasionally. And at the gala, we actually had one of our, we had one of the kids that we treated, who now is, grown up and everything. And he was one of our featured speakers. And it was great to hear him talk about how, getting treatment meant that, he could go to college and, he's working to become like an architect. And it was like, that's so cool. That's wonderful that he has like this chance, to live a better and fuller life because, he got the help that he needed. So, anyway, it's all this to say, there's lots of things that you can donate towards. There are so many good causes. Obviously, right now, we're raising money for True Colors United, which is another, like, there's someone, another organization that's sort of caught, like, in this, situation where a lot of their funding has been cut, unfortunately. And every bit that you are helping right now helps to replace, funding that's been cut from them, and means that they can keep continuing the good work that they're doing. I'm sorry, like Pisek, I'm taking your job.
No, it's okay. I think people would rather hear it from you than me, honestly, because I'm just going to give them a blurb about how, like, True Colors United is pushing back against government DEI bans,
Yep.
their deportation raids, and things of that nature. Like, that's where donations like yours come in handy here, because then they don't have to rely on sources that, frankly, in these sort of political times are going to be shaky, and unfortunately so. So it's those personal donations, even like a little bit goes a long way from a lot of people.
Exactly. And it is sort of like a many hands make light work kind of situation. But also it really does not take that much to make an impact. Um, people might know that I've been doing, this sort of work for, a number of years and with a number of organizations. Um, but one of the things I kind of always think about is I'll give a shout out to them because they're like kind of like one of the OG video game charity marathons, Desert Bus for Hope. But they've had like folks on from the charity that they work with, Child's Play, and Child's Play was like, like your impact is much more than you think it is. And for Child's Play, basically, again, this is from a few years back, so it's probably a little bit more now. But at that time, they said, it just takes, $7 of, something raised, and that means that we can help one more kid. So, like I said, even if it's something small, you can absolutely make a difference.
I also think it's
And
important to say for something like that. Sorry to cut you off a little bit there, but
no.
when it comes to like toys and games and things like that, especially in hospitals for with sick children, some of that stuff cannot be reused. So
Yeah.
$7 means that's a toy for a kid that is their toy now. That is,
Yes.
you're helping them
I'll
out.
I'll talk about this because this is
Yeah,
something that
for
I
sure.
helped like make happen. One of the things that is pretty popular at our hospital are playing cards, and but we had some like relationships in the community to get like playing cards, but one of the activity directors, like she's like, do you think that maybe you could find, maybe if you talk to like the casinos that are nearby, because we have like like one or two, maybe they'll be willing to give you like the decommissioned cards. So I made it like a little personal like goal of mine, and I reached out, and luckily, the folks there were super cool and really happy to help, and it was really great to like bring like and give out to like the nurses and to our activity team to be like, hey, here you go, here's 300 decks of playing cards that we can give out to kids, and they got to keep them. And
So
it
good.
is like, yes. So, but also, here we go. Here's like my big thing. If you would like to give items to a hospital, we are super duper happy to accept them. But please, if you can, please give us a receipt. And this is because if you can give it to us a receipt, it actually, for those of us who are working in the fundraising, we do actually have metrics that get tracked. And it looks good for our metrics if we can put like we will take it no matter what. I want to emphasize that. But if you can give us a receipt, it's actually great for us. It's great for you, because then we can put like, okay, this was like how much, this donation was worth, and it can kind of, show the investment that we're getting. So there you go. That's my big thing. If you would like to donate items, we will happily take items, but please, if you can, just give us a receipt. There you go. That's my one thing about donating. What we call gifts in kind is the term we use for it. And sometimes people don't really worry about it. We had some other folks who work in my hospital is part of a larger system where there's other hospitals and and healthcare professionals who work in it. But we had folks who work in a whole other like department, and they put together like a clothing drive for our kids to make it so that way the kids can get like new clothes, and they can take those clothes home with them. And those folks, they're like no, it's fine, like you just take them, and we just took them. But sometimes we had something like a local farm came, and one of the things that we do is we have a garden for our kids that they can like use as a nice way to kind of get some sun out during the day, and they can tend to our garden. So we have a nice little community garden that we have. And we had a local farm that donated us a whole bunch of plants for the community garden. In that case, they did give us a receipt. They gave us a nice invoice so we could actually be like, hey, we actually got like over $1,000 worth of plants. It was cool. But all those things add up, and all those things help make the experience better for our kids. Because, again, I won't talk too much about it, but, I was really sick in 2021, and I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And it is very boring to be in a hospital, and it sucks because you are, it hurts, and you don't know when it's going to end, and you hope that it's going to end well. And even for, me and as an adult, like my ending well was still, I had to come back for weeks to get checkups because I was well enough to leave, but I wasn't done healing. And, to go through that when like you're like a kid is even like more, completely like, turns your world upside down for while you're here. And we do everything we can to make it so that way, the kids are still have room to be kids and still have, the space to have fun and also to learn. We actually have like teachers who come in every single day. This one is a repeat. So I'm just going to go to the secret track. We had a discussion yesterday over which was better, One-Winged Angel or Birth of a God. And I said, but you all need to understand that the best version of Birth of a God is the version in major key. And I don't know if you all are ready for this. I don't know, like, are you ready for Birth of a God, but it's in a major key?
My body is ready.
All right, here we go then. It's so upbeat.
No, this is just a Persona track. This is just a Persona track.
This is just Persona.
This track just makes me laugh every time because it's like, yes, it's Birth of a God. Oh, is it still quiet for y'all? I'll give it an extra bump on my side. Anyway, there. I'll bump it up so you can hear the sax solo.
But yeah, Schala, you might be interested to hear.
Yes.
I finally sat down and played through all of FF7 recently.
Oh, wow. So, like, the original game and then Remake and Rebirth?
No, just the original.
Okay, just the original. That's fine. And here you go. Since we're talking about FF7, here's Scala's completely ice-cold take about FF7. Which is, please play the original first. Do not hop straight into Rebirth and Remake. Don't do that. You might be tempted to because of all the really good graphics and all the cool voice acting and all the updated systems and quality of life, but please play the original FF7 first. That's because it is actually important that you play FF7 first. The original, the OG. And then you can be like me and just be like, I feel bad for... I actually shouldn't say feel bad, but it must be very weird being the FF7 devs and having to sadly watch your very, like, sort of like... what's the term I'm looking for? Your hot takes about 1997 start to become reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the original FF7 and Remake and Rebirth are very different games, but while they try to tell you can hop straight into remake without having played the original, you absolutely need to have played the original.
Then the fun part was, God, what? Why am I blanking? The movie.
I don't know.
The
Advent
sequel
Children.
movie. Yeah.
Advent Children. Which,
Nutara sat me down and made sure we watched that.
yes, also very much required viewing.
Yes.
Yeah, but please play the original. Like Garby's, like we're getting, mentions in chat. You can play the original game now, and like you can just turn off random encounters. They have like nice quality of life changes for you. Also, hi, is this the fun of? Oh, I meant to put that.
Also, hot take: the original FF7's encounter rate isn't that bad.
Oh, not compared to some other games. Well,
You need to talk to middle school me about that one.
look, middle school you just needs to get good. Okay.
You're not wrong, and I hate the fact that you're not wrong, but still.
Cloud and Sephiroth in Smash is fine because you know what? Because I appreciate the whole message of Cloud and Sephiroth in Smash, which is that Sephiroth will go anywhere to continue bothering Cloud. Also, there you go. I hope you all enjoyed Birth of the God, but it's in major key. And because we did have some of those sound issues earlier, I'm just starting this album over, so all you can enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, here we go. So we finished our line art, I should say. So the line art's done. Hooray! We're going to see is because we're reusing shapes, because you can do that very easily in Inkscape. You can just reuse stuff all the time. We're going to see if we can actually get the flat colors done. So actually, to Leggy and Piseg, what color shirt should Mushy be wearing? This is actually a great question.
Ooh, that is a good question. Leggy, I'm going to let you speak to that first.
I have an idea of what color to make it, but
How about we get a single color?
so my initial thought is to make it our signature color of purple.
That's actually where I was going to go with it, so.
Yeah.
All right, so as I've sort of been referring to it, Mushy and Pwup purple. Pwuple, if you want
Purple.
to.
I like this. I like this.
Yeah, if you want to name it. Well, because you had to look cute when you're going ooh.
Ooh, purple.
Oh, well, it's Pwuple.
Chat, what's your favorite uwu color? Donate now.
Yes, please donate
Yes.
now. Let's hear your favorite uwu colors and get some more support coming to True Colors United here.
Yes.
Also, this is a reminder, we are like $40 off from that unlocking that Kirby Decorate Your House thing later on today.
Nudge,
You
nudge,
want-
hint, hint.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, you could make it in, I don't know, Pwuple.
Pwuple. Bwoo. Ween.
Wed.
Blue Woo.
Magenta.
Chartreuse.
Such woo-woos. But no more freebies. No more freebies. You gotta
Yeah.
donate.
We're
Yeah, if
just
you wanna-
offering ideas.
This is true. but yeah. So thank you everyone for letting me talk about just how wild it is to actually work in this. This is my job, and but it was also very nice that a lot of my coworkers, I don't get to see all of them too often, just because, again, because in the particular system that I'm in, a lot of our folks work at what we call the central office. Oh God, I forgot that I still had magenta as the main color. Let's change that. There we go. So I don't get to see the folks who work at central office, because I'm in the hospital. That's where I work. Mainly because I'm the one who's taking care of our mail, and also if we have donors come visit, I'm the one who has to help organize, setting up basically luncheons. My boss hosts luncheons for donors. But But, it's fine, because it means that, they get to see kind of the impact of their work. Of their donations.
I guess I have to ask this now because the way you
Yes.
said that. Have you ever had any donors just suddenly soap without any notice whatsoever yet?
Only people who are, on our board will kind of do that.
Okay.
To be fair, one of our board members literally lives down the street from us. So sometimes he'll just kind of walk over. And then there's one board member who will just, basically call and be like, can you just, go ahead and process, $200 for me for, this reason or the other reason? And then it's great. Now it's your job. You now have to process that donation. Because he's given us so much time and effort and money. You're like, all right, cool. We'll just make that happen for you. So anyway, actually, I'm going to skip over the Moogle one, though, because I don't like that one as much. So, as you're probably looking here, so I'm sorry that I've stolen Mushy's mushroom cap. We're actually going to take it off the ref, and we're going to put it onto the color layer. Also, by the way, the fun fact of Inkscape, there's no such thing as drawing on the wrong layer, like you might have in other programs. Because you could always just pick up the object and just move it to the layer you need it to go to. So I bet you're wondering, wow, Schala, why does Mushy's mushroom cap, when you draw them, always look so consistent? The answer is, because I reuse the objects, is the actual answer. Because it came out really good, and you can reuse things. It's fine. But you're probably wondering, well, how does it get that nice shape? Again, we went over this earlier. Clipping mask! So you can see kind of how is Mushy's mushroom cap actually put together. So we have this is all one big group. And what we're going to do for this emote is we're going to kind of go in. We're going to rotate it a little bit. And even though a bunch of this is going to get cut off the top when we would cut this down for an emote, we're still going to do it anyway because we might move stuff around. But yeah, this is how the mushy art actually works. And then what we could do is, because this design is a little bigger than the last design I worked on that we were taking our reference from, we can just enlarge it. Usually I try to kind of get this spot to go ahead and kind of get here in the corner. And then usually I will adjust the lines a little bit. So this one we're kind of, the one we're taking this sort of from was a bit more front on. Let me see, where's that line that I need? There it is. So for this one, we're just going to curve the lines a bit. There we go. Nope. You mean to pick up the whole thing. And basically we have the layering to help with making sure that each color kind of gets its little part in things. There we go. So for the actual curves, it tends to just be 2 points. So we have a super smooth line. This is actually why I was really happy that Mushy won, because I kind of wanted to show sort of the hidden secret as to how the Mushy art works. Which is basically, yeah, I just kind of reuse it. Because again, that's a big thing with vector art, because you can reuse stuff so easily. Is, yeah, if you can reuse it, just reuse it. So now we're going to take... And basically, the reason why I use magenta for clips is because I never use it for anything else. Curse Mushy headcanons. I don't have... All my headcanons about Mushy are entirely, nice and warm and positive. I don't know. I feel like... It's a mustache, the eyes. No, these are Mushy's eyes. Mushy does indeed have eyes. Because I have drawn Mushy's beautiful anime eyes. Can I actually drop that in here real quick? I can. as this really pretty FF3 music plays.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like about to say, I'm like, it's like the server avatar, y'all. Oh. I try to drag it straight onto the canvas. There you go. See? Look at Mushy and their special eyes.
New eyes just dropped, y'all.
New eyes just dropped, y'all. By the way, that was actually one of the hardest parts of doing the summer Mushy art, was deciding what Mushy's eyes looked like. Because I did not want to draw the toad eyes. Because toads basically just have like little circles for eyes. I did not want to do that. I wanted to give Mushy like actual eyes. So you have no idea also like how much went into figuring out what color are Mushy's eyes. I agonized over those, okay? Anyway. Well, the thing is, I mean, we have had Mushy games that we have played during the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, I tend to see Mushy as, this sort of, just gender fluid, ambassador of goodwill unto speedrunners.
Mm-hmm.
Mushy, who wants you to play fun games. Oh, hey, we're back onto this track. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. Play fun games. Play queer games. Make queer games. I am not joking. Please, just, if you have fun queer ideas, like, make them happen. Make them real. And guess here's the best thing. They don't have to be perfect. They really
They
don't.
don't even have to be good.
They don't even have to be good. It's nice if they're good, but here's the thing. They are a thing that will come from your soul, and that's important. I was about to actually, Leggy, I kind of want your weigh in on this.
Mm-hmm.
I won't get too deep into it because right now it basically, I mean, Leggy, you have been the fastest lesbian at Super Lesbian Animal
I am
RPG.
the world record holder for SchalaRPG.
Yeah, the world's fastest lesbian right here.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, and again, I'm trying not to get put too much information into it or get too deep into it, because right now it basically just exists as a bunch of random ramblings in Milanote. But I'm working on like a story concept. And as I was working on it, I said to my partner, I said, because you're going to put parts of yourself into your characters.
Obviously.
That's going to happen. And part of the story that I'm kind of working on, one of the characters is non-binary, but because of where they are working, they're working in an environment where that's not necessarily readily accepted, and so they kind of have to default to going by she, her pronouns and being seen as female, even though that they are very much non-binary. But they are, we're assigned female at birth. Or the way they describe it is they are female in, they're feminine in frame, but not in mind, heart, or soul, is how they describe their experience. And it's that's something that I kind of have to deal with, as someone who uses very bespoke pronouns. Which I like it that there are places that will respect neo pronouns, even though I don't consider mine to be too neo, because, they're from the 1860s. Sorry, that was just 2 seconds of neo pronoun soapboxing. But anyway, I realize other characters that I'm putting into this story are very clearly neurodivergent, as even though I'm late diagnosed, I am someone who is neurodivergent. And it sort of has been this interesting thing of, the question is, very quickly to answer chat. Yes, the pronoun Z comes from the 1860s, where there was a very large movement towards the creation of neopronouns, of non-gendered pronouns. And Z is one of the ones that happened to stick. There are other ones from that era, like Pei and U, that are also totally viable. If you want to use them, go use them. Please look up the history of non-gendered pronouns. I know Hisser was another one that got a decent amount of traction, as was here, the sort of the second half of my pronouns. So there you go. Again, this is part of like my whole, like, as a history major, being like, we have always been here. We have always been here.
Neopronouns are neo in the sense of the modern era being like the 1900s.
Yes. So yes, we have always been here. We will always be here. And that is, I feel, very important to remember. Trust me, one of the things like I got to write about in history was the amount of trans men who participated in the Civil War. This is a real thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I ended up going off on a whole like thing and not asking you my question.
Well, let's move back to questioning.
Yes. Oh, no, then Alice like post something in the chat that makes me want to cry.
Oh.
Which is that we have always been here and Schala has always been here. And here, we'll take 5 seconds for gender soapboxing. As someone who is genderqueer, I have interesting thoughts about how like my gender fits into things. And it's something where it's just like, again, and this is something I'm kind of building into this character that I'm writing. I'll go ahead and just use their name, Harper. Harper has always known that they are queer. And that's just who they are. And it's something where, like, I wish growing up I had had the words for it. And, you know, I've had, you know, some of the kids in my life, my nieces and nephews, who have experimented with, you know, what kind of terms might fit for them. And I want to be, you know, the adult in their life that is like, yes, if you feel that that's who you are, I'm going to support you 100%. And here's the thing. If you figure out that maybe that's not the right label for you, not the right fit for you, you can change it. You can change it. And that I want to be like that kind of supportive force in their life. But anyway, the actual question that I've been avoiding this whole time is, can someone who is neurodivergent ever write a neurotypical character? That's actually the question.
I'd say yeah.
I think you can write kind of what is how you see neurotypical people, but I don't think you can ever write a character that's fully neurotypical because you are not neurotypical.
I mean, there's also different types of neurodivergence and neurotypicality.
Yes.
Like, for instance, I'm also neurodivergent, but in some very specific ways that, you know, like, I have moments where, you know, people will not notice that I'm neurodivergent because, you know, I'm good enough at the scripts and, you know, comfortable with the way that interactions happen. And so, like, it's one of those interesting things about just, like, you know, talking about lived experiences that are not necessarily your own.
Right. Which, you know, is definitely, you know, very much, like, important. You know, I feel like, because when you're writing, obviously you cannot write entirely your own experiences. You kind of have to extrapolate.
Right.
And, you know, this is a story where the character who I'm talking about, who is, you know, I kind of, you know, I like to have those moments where I'm writing or coming up with characters where I sort of say, like, I have the moment where I really get them. And it's like, I find, like, a part of their character where it's like, I maybe not have thought about this before, but now that I'm thinking about this, this is actually what I was going for and what makes sense for the character. Also, I went and grabbed Purple for us. But I have a character in this story, and one of the things that I'm kind of doing is I am kind of projecting my love of architecture onto him.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, my love of architecture and old buildings. But the thing is that for this particular character, it's and again, this is such a niche term, but it's such a good term for this. It's like his version of this gets used in like anime fandoms of gap moe. So for folks who don't know what gap moe is, it's when there is a characteristic or like an element of a character that seems to run counter to your initial impression of them, and that adds roundness to them. That's what kind of like gap moe is. At least that's how I always interpret it.
You have like an example?
Well, I'll use the character that I'm describing here, whose name is Gabriel. Where Gabriel, like, the first impression of him, so he's, this nobleman, and he's kind of like, you get like kind of like the jock vibe from him. Because he's very like, he's like tall and well trained, in like swordsmanship and everything. And so you kind of get that like, oh, is he kind of like a jock kind of vibe? But then you realize that his, he's actually like neurodivergent, and his special interest is, in this case, castles. This is set in a fantasy thing, but particularly the castle that he lives at.
Mm-hmm.
And he will, like, if you give him the space, he will go off. He'll give you like the names of like all the different, gargoyles that are around the castle. Tell you that gargoyles and grotesques are two different things. Like, it's only a gargoyle if it has a downspout. Otherwise, it's a grotesque. And unless, of course, it's a mythical creature. Grotesques only apply to actual creatures. Mythical creatures are chimeras.
Nerd.
So I know. But that's the whole idea, is to have like a character who gives you one impression, but then when you actually get to know him, you realize, oh no, this guy's a big old nerd. But he hides it, like, because he's sort of told like, oh no, you're supposed to like care about other things, but he's like, no, I just want to care about castles and talk about the fact that, did you know that this door is from the original build of the castle? Even after the original one like burnt down, they managed to save the door, and that's why it's very important. That's why the castle is named after this door.
Of course the castle's named after the door.
Of course it's named after the door.
That's adorable.
Oh my gosh.
But this is the whole thing about, you need to go out and you need to make things. Like, I feel like the big, sort of overture of this entire showcase has been, please go out into your communities, find places that need like either volunteering or that need, material support, and support them. And there's lots of them that are out there. There's lots of ways to do so. And even if it's just, doing so at a small amount, like at a low level, it is still very much appreciative. Like I said, if you donated, we had like a donation like that came in this week. It was $10 to the hospital. And it's something where it's like, okay, that's what this person could afford. I was still beyond happy to send them a thank you letter, to be like, yes, thank you so much for what you contributed. And that thank you letter would mean just as much to me as the person who donated, $40,000, because you're giving something to people who need it, well, in my case, to kids who need it. And this is the same thing that we're doing right here, right now, with raising money for True Colors United. It's going to go to LGBTQ youth who are, kind of the most vulnerable, the most in need. And even if it's something small, you are absolutely going to help them. And I like that I'm doing this over such upbeat music.
Right? What a bop.
What a bop. And that's basically the message of this entire showcase has been make cool things, do good work in the world, you know, be queer, because we have always been here and we will always be here. And I'm pretty sure I'm right about at my 90-minute mark for this showcase. But look, we got done all the flat colors, so I'll probably be finishing this up and then sharing it to the Discord, and we'll see about maybe adding it to the channel. But thank you all so much for donating, for making. Oh, we still have another. Garby's like, you still have 10 minutes. Oh no. Well, here's the thing. I want to keep us on track for the marathon, so we're cool to end a little early.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm at
That's
I'm at a really
showcases.
yes. Also, I'm at a really good stopping place.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So, yes.
Uh,
So go ahead, Peace. Say.
Now, I was going to say, is there any like final shout outs or anything like that? And then I'm going to just pivot into a very relatable donation based on everything you said.
I mean, right now, I've kind of had. I kind of had to take a break from streaming because I've been both helping out with planning Power Up with Pride and then also planning this gala that I went to on Friday. I hope to have some time to get back to it, but probably I kind of got invited to our local Pride event next week. But that's fine. I like it though. So but you can definitely find me on Blue Sky, also at SchalaKitty. If you do catch me streaming, it will be on Twitch as SchalaKitty. As always, I'm your resident queer creative mage, always happy to bring you positive vibes to wherever I happen to be. So thank you all so much for sharing the time, for letting me have a platform. And thank you so much, Leggy, for being my wonderful co-commentator. You've commentated several of these showcases, and when I say commentate, I mean you hang around and basically just vibe with me.
Yeah, no, I just say things and have a good time, and it is always a blast and a pleasure to get to hang out with you during these.
So thank you all again so much, chat. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be the end of being on the mic for me at the marathon, unless I manage to stay up till the end. We'll see how that goes. So just thank you all so much. Actually, I can't see it right now. Can you all tell me what is our total raised so far this event?
I can definitely tell you it's $3,535, 35.35. And speaking of, like, does $10 matter or $40,000 matter? We have a $10 donation from Jazz, who says we went through so many ooh colors and we didn't get yellow.
Yeah, whoa. So yeah, exactly. But like I said, just go out, do good things to your community, and make the world the better. I saw this quote recently, like, I know that the world is a good place, and if I can't find it that way, I will make it that way. So, thank you all so much for taking time to make this world a better place, even if it's in a small way. It's deeply, deeply appreciated, and I wish that I could send you all letters.
Thank you so much, Scala. This has been fantastic watching you do all this amazing line work, color work. I'm kind of just gobsmacked as someone who has very little artistic talent in this regard to see this all come together just so wonderfully, honestly.
Well, thank you all so much. But I believe we have a really fun run coming up next, don't we?
We do. We have a paper Mario randomizer using glitch logic coming up with Phantom 5800. So stay tuned for that. That's just around the corner.
All right. Well, thank you all again. We'll see you all soon.
And once again, y'all, you are watching Power Up with Pride 2025, benefiting True Colors United. That was a fantastic vector art showcase from SchalaKitty. Z just did an amazing job. I don't know how emotes come together. I don't know how art comes together. I have done very little work in that regard, and just seeing it happen in front of my eyes just will always just little tiny mushroom clouds, no relation to mushy, but just popping off of my brain, just in how it all works. It's always amazing to see. So I hope you're as amazed as I am, or if not, and you're used to doing that stuff, I just hope you create good things, like Scala was saying. But that said, we do have a Paper Mario randomizer coming up. It's for the N64. It involves glitch logic. It's being run by Phantom 5800. They are going to absolutely have a fantastic time running that, I am sure. And if they don't have a fantastic time, I'm sure you'll have a fantastic time watching all the same. As a reminder, we have been running all weekend with Power Up with Pride 2025. If you've missed any runs and marathons so far, you can find them uploaded after the marathon's done on our YouTube channel. You can also stay up to date on the event or any future events by following us on Blue Sky or Mastodon at Kind Social by joining our Discord. Links to all these can be found in the panels below the stream right here on Twitch, or you can use !social in the chat and get all the links right there. So stick around, we will have the Paper Mario randomizer very shortly. One more thing I forgot to mention, folks. There is another poll up. If you want to donate and put your money towards more incentives, more polls, there is the Kirby. Let me get the exact wording here so I don't mess up the game name. Kirby's Epic Yarn. If you want to decorate Kirby's room, that is just under $35 away from being unlocked. You can see it there on deck. It's a couple hours away, but still. $35, and we get to decorate Kirby's room. We also have a poll that's open, and actually 2 polls, I am so sorry, for the Pokemon trading card game. One of them is for choosing the character name. You have the choices of Ingo, Annabelle, and Spyro. And there is no money on that poll because it just opened up, so your donation could change the tide of that battle. In fact, your donation could set where that battle starts off for what the name will be. So, again, get those donations rolling in. We also have a bid war for the starter deck for the trading card game. Will it be Charmander and Friends, or will it be Bulbasaur and Friends? Right now, Bulbasaur and Friends has a $10 lead. But again, any donation could certainly change what happens with that starter deck. And remember, on Tiltify, when you're donating, !donate, you can choose both a poll and a target. Make sure you look at both of those. There's a tab up near the top when you are getting your donation set up. Make sure you choose each one of those. Tiltify lets you choose one of each category. It's not a case where you have to pick just one incentive. Here, we let you pick 2. It's pretty darn cool. And make sure you put your money towards both. That way, you have the most impact not only for True Colors United, but for our marathon as well. Because you want to help guide the path of this Power Up with Pride, right? I'm sure you do. Anyways, stick around. Get some self-care if you need to, but Paper Mario is coming right up.